Welcome to the SARE Ladies podcast, the sister brand of Subtle Asian Real Estate, where our mission is to get more people that look like us participating in the real estate industry. We invite experts to not just talk about real estate, but also about our unique identity as Asian women and the cultural values that shape who we are as investors. I'm Anita Wong.
And I'm Tiffany Lee. We're both real estate agents and investors based in the Bay Area and New York City. Whether you're a seasoned real estate pro or just starting out, there's something for everyone here. So pour yourself a glass of wine or boba tea and join us as we celebrate the achievements and unleash the untapped potential of AAPI women in the real estate industry.
Welcome to the SARE Ladies podcast.
Now let's get on with the show. But first, a word from one of our fabulous sponsors.
I came to the U.S. with nothing but $20 in my pocket and still managed to build a rental portfolio.
If you're a child of AAPI immigrants, I'm sure some version of that story sounds kind of familiar. Well, now you can do the same while still killing it at your demanding corporate job your immigrant parents probably encouraged, forced you to get through real estate syndications. Our friends at Cashflow Marketplace provided the first site that allows you to view GP profiles with established track records. Read and even leave reviews of syndicators to build trust instantly. So leave the stress behind. Passively invest in a multifamily portfolio while still enjoying passive income, steady cash flow, and tax benefits that come with real estate ownership. For more info, check out cashflowmarketplace.com. Now on to the show.
Hello, SARE Ladies, and welcome back to another episode of the SARE Ladies Real Estate Podcast. This is your host, Anita Wong, and my co-host, Tiffany Lee. Today, we are so excited to have, and this is not a term that I coined, but please welcome Khai, the mortgage guy. Say hi, Khai.
Hi, everyone.
Now, if you are in the Subtle Asian Real Estate circle, Khai is an OG and possibly one of those most popular figures in the community. For the reason, because one, he's helped many people in our community, but also he's the type of guy to bring spin the wheel lottery shots at SARECon. So a real fun hang time.
Well, alcohol helps.
And yacht captain. Don't forget he was the yacht captain last summer.
Yeah, we were on a yacht. We were on a yacht. Oh my gosh, you said yak. I was going to say yacht. We were on a yacht at SARECon, and we had a great time. Anyway, so what we don't talk about too often with Khai are his personal investments and how he snags some of the best deals for himself. And Khai, as the founder and CEO of Absolute Mortgage Lending and a serial entrepreneur and investor, knows how to get the best deals. So today we're going to talk about just that secret sauce and how he gets the best deals, and even talk about creative financing ideas and products our female investors need to know about today. Welcome, Khai.
Hello. Thank you, ladies, for having me. I'm excited.
We're
I'm a little
excited.
nervous. So I took a shot before. I really do.
To be fair, it's Friday, so you're allowed.
Liquid
It's fine.
And it's 5 o'clock somewhere today.
Right.
So
So Khai, before we get deep into the nitty gritty of things, let's talk about the motto that you have. So you told us growing up poor is not your fault, but dying poor is. What does this mean to you, and how do you apply it to your life?
well, so I grew up poor. I didn't know I was poor until after college, but I grew up. I had 9 siblings, so there was 10 of us, and my parents. So there was 12 of us. We live in a 1,600 square foot house with 12 of us. And, I remember growing up, we were so poor. We went to McDonald's and my parents couldn't afford the fries for us. So we each only had a cheeseburger. And I didn't know. I was happy with the cheeseburger, So once I got in college, I realized how poor we were. And I just realized, hey, being poor growing up was not, you can't control that. But if you die poor, then it's something that you have to change. You have to take responsibility for what you want to become. This is how poor we were, okay? My first car, I remember we had a sunroof. Okay? I had a sunroof and it was leaking. So if it rained, I have to open an umbrella inside my car so that it would not rain on me. So that's how poor we were. I'm serious. We had a sunroof and it leaked when it rained. So while driving in the car, I would have an umbrella open because it would rain on me. That's how poor we were. So I told myself, I will not be poor. I will not die poor. I will not. And those are the words of Bill Gates. And he said, so I manifest that. Hey, and props to my parents, okay, because growing up, I never felt poor. I never felt poor because my parents were able to give us everything that we wanted or everything we needed. I didn't know we were poor until I went to college, when I had these very, very rich friends, when, they were doing so much and they had so much. Their cars were nicer. I worked 4 jobs in college, and I started working at the age of 11. And when I say at the age of 11, I'm talking about full time. After school, I would work from 3 to 11, come home, work the next day, and then work on weekends at the age of 11. So, I know how hard it was. I just don't want to work as hard as my parents did. I want to be able to travel. I want to eat. I love food. Okay. I love food. Three things I love. Okay. I love food. I love to dance, and I love to sing. I cannot dance and I cannot sing, but I love to dance and I love to sing. Okay. So
you love to eat.
Yeah, I love to eat. That's what I tell people. You can't control how you grow up, but you can control your future. How do you build wealth? And I was one of the lucky ones that I started investing very, very early. At the age of 18, I started investing. Opened my IRA. I bought my first home when I was 21 years old.
Wow!
Without help with anyone, it was just me. And I house hacked that, and I didn't even know. I bought the house. I remember I bought a foreclosure. It was foreclosed, and my monthly payment was $680. But I had 2 roommates that were paying me $500 each. So I actually house hacked at the age of 21, and I didn't even know it.
You invented house hacking, Khai. You're the OG house hacker before house hacking was even a word. You were doing it.
and then once I realized that, hey, there's so many ways out there to become wealthy, that that I said, hey, I want to be wealthy. I remember in high school, I said, hey, my goal was to make 6 figures. But I realized how small that goal was. Then I realized, hey, 7 figures, very achievable. 8 figures, very achievable. Heck, my new goal now is, hey, how do I become the next billionaire? I'm always thinking of ideas, always stuff. A lot of people, they dream too small, okay? Or they think they set their goals way, way too small. And I'm going to manifest that, hey, I'm going to be a billionaire. And you know what? I believe I can be a billionaire soon. There's a lot of stuff that I'm always thinking about on the background, and if you don't tell people your goals, or if you don't, set expectation, you're never going to get there. So that's one of the things that I do. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be poor because I don't want to, live paycheck by paycheck. I don't want to know if I can afford the next meal. So yes, I think I can control that, and everyone can control that. There's no reason why you have to be poor. There's so many opportunities out there right now. Not just right now. There's opportunities everywhere. You just need to take advantage of it and believe in it. And you have to first believe in yourself that you can do it. So that's what I'm manifesting today, that I'm going to be a billionaire soon. And I want people to remember that, because one day you'll be that,
So you said something interesting. Let's rewind a few steps. You said that at 21, you bought your first foreclosure. How did you know to buy a foreclosure? Even like you're just barely out of being a teenager, and you said you know how to find deals everywhere. So I feel like that's kind of a special thing for someone that young to know to do. What was that about?
I don't know. I think it just happened. I remember I wanted to live in this neighborhood, and I saw the house, and I was like, hey, this is right behind my sister's house. So I said, and I found out, and I started doing research who owned this house, and I found out it was the bank. It was run down. I bought it, and I actually fixed it. Well, I didn't fix it myself. I hired people to fix it and renovated and moved into it. I just remember I was living with my sister. I was living rent free, and I said, why am I buying a house to live to pay rent while I'm living rent free? But what I thought about is, hey, if I had roommates and I was making money off it, then they're paying off my debt for me. I'm gaining asset.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought. I don't know how I thought about it, but it's just so happened it was a foreclosed home. It was undervalued. That's what it was. I remember that, I bought it for $109,900. That's how much I bought it for. But the value was around 170. And so I said, oh, I like this. I like how this number worked. And then I calculated how much money it would cost me to fix this, and labor and material was a lot cheaper back then. So I said, hey, I just need to spend about $16,000 to fix this place up. I automatically made almost, $40,000 right there just in equity by fixing it up myself. And that's how it all started. And, you just have that mindset,
It's almost like you have a naturally ingrained talent and feel for business, because a lot of the things that you're saying came naturally to you at a young age, that people go to the SARE group to be like, oh my God, this is such a novel concept. But it's a concept that and they attach a name to it, but you intrinsically knew what to do and what the optimal play was to maximize that. So I'm just curious, what was your childhood like? Did you play a lot of strategy games? Did you gear towards those kinds of things?
So I was called in college. I was called the 40-year-old college student. I had a head full of gray hair, and I wore a suit to class every day because I wanted to look mature. I wanted to look successful, and I was so young, no one would believe me, right? So I don't have any gray hair now. So now they call me Benjamin Khai. All the gray hair went away, and now it's for some reason I have no gray hair. So they call me Benjamin Khai now. But they call me the 40-year-old college student. I mean, I work hard. I work, I tell you, at the age of 11, all I did was work.
What kind of jobs were you doing?
I was working family business at restaurants. I started cooking at 11 in the kitchen. And I'm talking about stir frying rice. I'm deboning chicken. Everything. I did everything. Cool. We had a liquor store, and I was at the liquor store. It was just everything, and I guess that gave me the work ethic, and seeing and growing up. All I did was work. In high school, after class, I would go to work on weekends, so it was a lot of work. But, I was the first one to have a car in high school. At 15, I had a car because I started working at 11 and saving up. And I moved out of my parents' house right after high school, and paid my own rent, bought my own car. There's 10 of us. My parents couldn't afford to buy all of us cars, so I bought my own car. After I graduated, I bought my own car. I do remember this. Okay, after college, I was so poor. I was so broke that I had so much credit card bills. In college back then, all you needed was to be in college. They'll give you a credit card.
Oh yeah, it was very predatorial. That's a problem.
So I remember I was so poor that I had so much credit card bills that I would staple my credit card bill on my ceiling. In my room. So when I wake up, the only thing I would see is the credit card bill, and I say, I had to get up. I had to pay this. I had to go to work. I had to find a way to pay this. It's just one of those things that, I believe I had a very great childhood. I mean, I did everything everyone else did, but I was just a lot older or a lot more mature. All my college friends, I wore a suit to class, so everyone thought I was a professor instead of a student.
So you went into college with way more life experience than a lot of your sheltered, maybe like more well-off friends, right? That's kind of the edge that maybe growing up poor affords us, is just, you do more and you're more self-reliant in that way. And that helps give you an edge in being an entrepreneur and a business owner.
Yeah.
So now that we know that you come from such a colorful background of all these different types of business lines, can you tell us about your favorite deals in your portfolio, what you invest in now, and what do you think is your secret sauce in getting those deals?
My favorite, there's so many, but I'll tell you about the most recent one, okay? Because I thought it was very, very successful. I bought this property in actually November of last year. And the reason why I like it, because no one was buying at that time. So I had so much room to negotiate. It's a 32 unit. And see, the thing about me is I don't do syndication. Everything I buy is usually by myself or with one business partner. So all the units that I own is usually just me by myself or one other person. I usually don't have more than one business partner. And I bought this one in November. And I tell you this, okay? We were under contract for 1.4 million. I was able to negotiate 75,000 less after contract because everyone was panicking. Everyone was, and I was going to buy at 1.4 no matter what. I knew I was, but I wanted to negotiate because I knew I had room because no one else was buying. So I bought it, and sure enough, right after I bought it, I was able to make improvement. I spent less than probably about 100,000 in improvement and doubled the value right away. I mean, from 1.4, I can easily get 2.7, 2.8 for it right away. And I think, and the thing was, it was under rented. So I almost doubled the rent, okay? And value just went up right away. A lot of people, this is my thing, okay? A lot of people, they only look at profit, okay? But what do they do when they look at profit, okay? How do you increase profit? Most people look at it as, hey, I have to reduce my expense, right? I don't look at reducing expense. I look at how do you increase revenue. There's profit is revenue minus expense. When we're in a tough time, most companies, what they do is hey, we need to reduce our expense. But I shift our mind and say, let's not worry about the expense. Yes, it's important to reduce expense, but you're cutting too much. So instead of worry about reducing expense, why don't we worry about how do we increase revenue during this time? Everyone knows I own a mortgage company, and every mortgage company out there are cutting costs. They're laying people off. They're doing all this stuff. And what I try to do is, hey, I don't want to be that person that lay people off and look at how do we maintain our profitability by reducing expense. Instead, what I did was, how do we increase our revenue during this tough time? Let's see if we can add different products. Let's do a little bit more. Let's try to look at both sides of, of profitability, right? A lot of realtors, that's why I tell people, you have to look at both angles. And so what I did was I tried to increase revenue, and increase revenue also increase profitability. So with that project, I mean, we just bought it in November and we almost doubled our value by spending 100,000. I didn't cut back. What I did was I made value and increased the rent, and you double value. Double the value of the property. I love it. I can't wait, because I believe that if we continue doing the improvement now, I can probably sell it for a lot more, probably closer to 4 million, by the end of the year, if we continue doing well. So I love it. I love it that I just bought the property. I love to buy when no one else is buying. Less competition, less, people say interest rate is high, but my interest rate was fine. It's still cash flow and everything.
You're Khai the mortgage guy, of course.
Yeah.
But I love what you said about. Yeah, go ahead, Anita. What were you going to say?
I found it amazing that you found a 32 unit for 1.4 million. You can't give a 2-bedroom in California with that. Yeah, I found 32. I'm just like, someone client cost me 1.4 million. Okay, well, you can do a 1 or 2 bedroom. Like, that's it.
Yeah,
You found 32 unit.
I know, right?
Where did you?
And
Where was this project or listing?
this is, and you know what? It's in Oklahoma, Atoka, Oklahoma.
There you
It's
go.
like the population of 3,000. The city, you know.
Yeah.
But it's also one of those things where you I a realtor friend brought it to me, you know. And why do they bring it to me? You know, it's all about that relationship. I get a lot of these deals because of relationship that I've built, the trust that I've built. You know, I always tell people, you know, I buy a lot of properties, and when I buy properties, 99% of the property I own, I've never been. I've never seen it. I've never been there. What I do is I build these relationships with people that I trust people. And, you know, you only want to be in relationship with people you trust, right? If you're going to work with someone, you have to trust them. So, and people come to me because they trust me. I'm not nickel and diming people. You know, let's just say you're working with a realtor and, you know, and you ask them to cut their commission or cut you're going into their livelihood. You're going to, that's how they make money to help their family. So I never ever do that. I always try to this is how I do it. Instead of trying to save $500 on something, I think of how do you make an additional $500 or how do you make the additional $1,000 when I flip a home. You know, if I have a contractor and, you know, someone that I trust and his bid is 10,000 more, let's not look at cutting a trusted partner out of business, but how do I still pay him his 10,000, but how do I make 10,000 more on the flip? You know, at that time, when you build that trust, it means so much more. So when I ask people to help, they're always willing to help. They're always willing to go above and beyond because, hey, I am a trusted partner. I'm not just a investor trying to flip a home to make money. I am building this relationship. Hey, I know that Carlos is charging me 10,000 more, but I also know Carlos have a family and this is his expense and he needs to work to help his family. So I'm not going to try to cut him out because I'm saving $10,000. What I would try to do is how do I increase the sale of this property by 10,000 more? Or how to maintain my profit or increase my profit? How do I market or what do I do so I can sell this property 10,000 more? Don't look at cutting expense all the time. Look at how do you increase revenue? How do you increase profitability? There's 2 parts to profitability, revenue and expense. Too many people look at expense. You have to look at revenue as well.
That's so smart. And that goes back into a mindset thing. And it's almost like you focus on an abundance mindset versus a scarcity mindset. If you look for more ways to find revenue, that's coming from a place of abundance. You're playing an offensive position, right? To win. You have to put points on the board. You have to play offense. You can't just be playing defense the whole time. You're not going to put any scores on the scoreboard, right?
You play football. You have to win with both offense and defense. You have to use the whole team to win.
Exactly.
You can't just win with defense. You know, the NFL say defense always win Super Bowl, but that's not true. The offense does too. You need both sides of the equation to make things work. When investing, don't look at just expense. Look at revenue.
Yep. Abundance mindset over scarcity mindset. And that I think that knowing that that's how you approach your problem solving and your investment strategy builds trust in the relationships with the people you work with, because they know Khai will have our best interests at heart. He's not greedy. If there is an issue with the dollars, he sees it as a problem that requires a solution. And let's fix it together. Let's find a creative path to fix it together to create more value versus like, oh, well, we need to cut it somewhere else. Like that's like a lot of people's knee-jerk reaction.
So a lot of times this happened because we're in the real estate industry. Too many people are worried about asking the realtor to give them a saving of, hey, let's cut that realtor 1%. Instead of paying them 3%, let's pay them 2%. No, I want to pay them their full 3%. on wholesale deal. A lot of people say, hey, can you cut you? I said, no, I want to pay them. Eventually, when you build that trust, and they will automatically take care of you. And when they do it at their will, it's okay. I always try to tell people, when people bring me wholesale deal, let's pay them their full commission. They work hard just like you. Let's not try to cut their money because they need to make a living as well.
Mhm.
Let's not focus on, there's too many of me instead of us. Let's think of us as when we invest, it's not just me investing, but us. How do we invest together? Because there's more than one person investing, right? You have your realtor, you have your inspector, you have your insurance agent, you have your property manager. Everyone have to work together as a whole, and it's a us investment, not a me investment. Because everyone in that group, when you're investing in a property, there's a lot of revenue. Everyone has to make a money living. The contractor, I understand trying to save money, but instead of just trying to save money, let's try to increase revenue. Let's look at the whole spectrum when investing. Okay.
I love that too.
That.
And I feel like we talk about, I remember having this conversation with Tiffany earlier just in the week. And of course we get it left and right about people wanting to, be like, how little can you do for the job? And I think that it's like, what people don't look at is building a long-term relationship with realtors, because there's a lot of churn and burn, and it's like, you don't know. I think what they don't look at is like how much they can do beyond just that first off commission, right? It's like, if you pay them less, they're not going to work real hard on saving you the difference that you're paying them less, right? You're like, how much to negotiate for you is actually the whale of the work. And so if you pay them, like 2% less, like, they're not going to negotiate on your behalf. They're not going to give you good deals. They're not going to give you off the market deals. They're certainly not going to do another deal with you after this either. So you're going to have
and if they have a great deal, who are they going to give it to? Someone that's going to pay them 1%, or someone that's going to pay them their full worth, who knows and value, and they trust them. I tell you, every property I've owned, a lot of them I've never seen. I've sold a couple of properties last year that I've owned for like 4 or 5 years, and I have never ever been there. I know the address, and I know how much insurance and taxes I paid on, but I've never seen the tenant. I've never seen anything. I've never been to that street, because I trust my partners. I trust them that, hey, they are the professional. I hired them and I work with them because I trust them. I let them take care of everything, and that's the only thing I require when someone works with me, that it's a trust relationship. I trust you with my investment. Okay. I want you to trust me, so I trust you. I want you to trust me. So a lot of times when I get good deals, it's because I built that relationship of trust, and I respect them. You have to respect people. Too many people are worried about, that word respect is very big, right? We don't respect each other enough. Like when you're asking someone, say, hey, let's just say they were going to make $1,000 commission. Now you say, hey, can you take 500 commission? You're telling them that they only work 50%. They only work 50%. And you're degrading them. You said they're only worth $500. Whereas if they come to me, hey, you're worth the full $1,000. I don't think 1,000 is enough. I think you're worth 1,500. Value people, trust, respect people. If this is what they're charging, a lot of people, okay, and I'm going to give in some creative ways on how I'm able to build so much. And sometimes, because of this trust, I'm able to do a lot more. It might not be the first transaction, but after they know how you work, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th transaction is so much easier, because now they trust you. They believe that, and that's what I tell people. Let's not be a one transactional. Let's be about relationship. You don't want to be, what they call it in the music industry, one hit wonder.
One hit wonder, flash in a pan. Yeah.
Why do you want to be that? Where you can, why not build, hey, 10 hits? Why not be the Beyonce in the industry where you get 32 Grammys or
Yeah. Lifetime Achievement Award.
You belong here, Khai. We can just be Beyonce.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is, why are you worried about saving $500 on one transaction when you can make $50,000 on the next 10 transactions? Why are you trying to save $500? It takes money to make money. It takes a lot of relationship building. Let's not be about that one transaction. Let's build relationships so that you can get to 100 doors. Too many people are worried about that one transaction. So I believe that the key to success is building great relationship, trusted relationship. I'm in the mortgage industry. Some people will leave you for 1/8 of a point. Let's just say, and if they leave you because of 1/8, then that relationship was not worth it in the beginning.
Yep.
I tell people, I might be an 8 more right now, but I'm going to build that portfolio for you where it's going to be worth. And 8 more might cost you $20 a month. Go to Starbucks less once a month or twice a month. Let's not worry about that. Let's not worry about that small number. You have to think big. Just beginning of the podcast, I said you have to dream big. You have to think big. Don't think of the small numbers. Think of the big numbers. Think of the big pictures when you're investing. Build that relationship.
So I want to talk about when we're building a trust relationship. What are the key actions you use to gain trust authentically? I think the thing that I struggle with about building trust in business relationship is straddling that line of I obviously want something from you and building a relationship that is authentic. So how do you straddle these two sometimes opposing mentalities?
I think that line that you said, you obviously want something from them. I build relationship not because I want something from them. I build them because I care. I think you have to start with caring. I want people around me to be successful. I want you, and then it become authentic, and then it helps you. Don't worry about what you will get out of the relationship. That will come. Because when you surround yourself with people around you with successful people, that will come somehow. If you are authentic and you build that relationship, everything else will come. You don't have to come say, hey, I'm only meeting this person because they're a realtor. I'm only meeting this person because I know they can give me good deals. Just build a relationship based on, hey, I like you because of this. I think that we have this in common. We have, we have the same goals in life. Think of something like that and then build around it. If nothing come of it, then it's okay. No business, and that's fine. You still met a great friend, someone that you can call, someone you can go out to lunch. Don't think of what can I get out of it, but look at, hey, I'm surrounding myself with successful people. These people make me happy. And you know what? You want something, you can learn something. Why did you want to get something from that person? Because they're successful. What can you learn from that person? Learning something from that person is more valuable than anything else, than getting a transaction, getting a real estate deal. But if you learn something from them, that's more, it's worth a lot more than just that one deal in real estate. I promise you.
That's beautiful. And that applies to everywhere in life, to every single type of relationship, I think.
Don't go into something saying that this is what I want. Just say, hey, be open-minded that I just want to learn. I just want to be a better person. And then it will come. I have one team member that he's so genuine, so nice.
Is it Min?
Yeah. No.
It is really
but he's so genuine, so nice. And I always tell people, if you can help someone, always help. Right? That's his motto. And then I say, hey, let's add to that motto. If you can help someone, just help. But if you can help someone, still help. There's times when I'm not in position to help someone, but I still help because I know they only asked for help because they need the help. It could be something very, very small, but I try to help everyone I can. Not because I'm going to get something out of it, because I just want to help. People reach out for help because they need help, So build that relationship trust that overall, that's how your business will be successful. That's how you grow in life, not just investing.
I want to and I want to ask, I feel like sometimes when we want to help, sometimes we obviously get burned by it. Either people are spending our time and trying to get deals that that are really not that great. And, I think there's a part of it that we're like losing ourselves because we trust too openly. How do you kind of mitigate that?
Well, you have to be honest. You have to be honest. Let's just say you feel like someone's taking advantage of you. Just tell them, hey, I want this to be a certain type of relation. Yes, I want to help you, but there's so much that I can do. There's so much in my limitation. That open communication and being honest. Let's just say Tiffany and I are working on our project, and then I feel like I'm using an example. I'm not saying and then I just feel like, hey, I'm doing everything and I'm getting burnt out. Maybe have that straightforward conversation with Tiffany. Hey, Tiffany, I know we're working on this together. I just feel a little bit burnt out. I feel like, can you help me with something? And when you ask that question, can you please help, or can you help me? Be kind and gentle. They are willing to look back, And if they're not, then maybe it's time to terminate that relationship. Right?
That's so funny. I'm like looking at Anita's face while Kai is saying that, because like Anita said those exact words to me before.
Tiffany.
Anita, Kai makes it sound so much nicer than you.
If you guys know my company model is to be kind. That's one thing that I realized that we don't focus enough on. Kindness goes a long way. It really does. Yeah. It's like when you're kind to people, you never know, how much it means to someone. I have a lot of close friends, people that I don't see often. I might see them once every 5 years, but they call me their best friend. Or I might not even talk to them once every 3-4 years, but they still call me their best friend. Or just because I believe in kindness. I believe that, once you treat people, you make people feel a certain way, they will always trust you and they will always look up to you. They'll always respect you and they'll always come to you for whatever. And even, I tell you, your best friend, you don't have to talk to your best friend every day to be best friend. I have so many best friends that I don't get to talk to every day, but I know they're my best friend because we have that type of relationship, that trust, that respect, that word respect means a lot. And I think we can't earn respect until we start giving respect. Start giving people respect. Respect people time and money.
Hey, we're going to take a little break, but in the meantime, here's a shameless plug for one of our amazing sponsors. What are your goals for the future? Whether it's starting a business, growing your investment portfolio, or securing your financial future, you need a lawyer on your side to protect your interests. With their expert knowledge and years of experience, a lawyer will help you navigate the complex legal landscape and ensure that your interests are protected every step of the way. So why wait? Start planning for your future today and contact the law office of Ronald Rohde. They will help you reach your investment goals. Trust us, your future self will thank you. Now on to the show.
That's awesome. I love that. And I want to hear about, so when you feel like there is sort of not something, they're not reciprocating the trust relationship with you, and you're kind of still in the middle and you don't need to sort of burn that relationship. How do you, how do you maintain these kinds of relationship, if you do at all, or you just say like, next, if this person isn't a healthy relationship, or how do you handle those?
I think you always have to maintain your relationship. you can, hey, have less interaction, but you still maintain that relationship because for some reason at one point you respect that person enough to build that relationship, right? There was some point that, hey, I wanted to work with this person because they had some good. Just remember, too many people think of the negativity and not the positivity. You just like when you're at work, right? You do one thing wrong and that's all they think about. They don't think about the hundred of other things that you did right. I always tell my staff, let's not fault one person because they did one mistake. Let's look at the 10 other things that they did great. We're going to ignore that negative factor. Let's just look at the 10 positive thing about that person. Let's not let one bad thing that it might be a big bad thing, but it should not overcome the 10 positive things that they have. Our last company summit was called the Positivity Summit. Basically say, hey, let's think about being positive. Let's think about not looking at what they did wrong, but look at what they did right. That's why I tell people, don't look at the negativity, look at the positive side. Look at the 10 million things that they did good. Look at the reason why you wanted to be partners with them in the first place.
Aww.
And just look at that. Don't look at the reason why you don't want to be partner. Look at only the reason why you want to be partner.
I love that.
You have that note, Anita? Did you write that down?
No, I was just gonna suggest to Khai that maybe he should change the company to Abundance Mortgage Lending.
Ooh, I like that.
Well,
Look at you, Anita.
You know why we're called Absolute Mortgage and Lending, right? So our old logo has the two pillars, right? Mm-hmm. And the word absolute in math means positive. Okay. The whole point of having the pillar is that I want only positive energy inside the company. Two pillars to company, and that's the absolute symbol. And word absolute in math is positive. Anything that's negative, that's inside of absolute value, is still positive. So I only wanted positive energy around me.
So nerdy. I love it.
So nerdy.
There's so many layers to. I just thought too complicated. You're like, no, it's an absolute sign. Now I get it.
So you guys know that we rebranded, and if you look at our new brand, we have the AML. The pillar is actually still hidden in our branding. If you look at between the M and the L, there's a pillar right there, and it's supposed to be a little subtle, but you still have the column of being absolute, to have absolute value, to always think positive.
Absolute value. Wow. I never made that connection until you told me it was absolute value. Yeah. I thought it was just absolute mortgage lend. Wow.
Yeah,
mine is blown. Mine is blown today.
And people don't understand why. It's because I try to be a very, very positive person. So
I thought it was because it was absolute vodka and
Anita, you have all the jokes today. Usually I'm the one making the jokes, and what is happening?
That was a good one.
That was
okay. Before we end the show, I want to ask about your favorite creative financing strategies for our audience and the investors that need to know.
So I will tell you 2 ways that you can buy investment property for cheap.
Oh, can you speak up a little bit more? You're a little low. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you guys 2 secrets on how to invest with less money. Okay. The first way is very simple. A lot of time when this is for the beginners. Okay. You can buy your first home with 3 or 5% down. Every year you can upgrade and buy another home for 3 and 5%, 3 or 5% down. So the first home you can buy, let's just say, I'm going to use small numbers, okay? Because we're not in the Bay Area, so we're not in. So let's just say you buy a house for $100,000. You can put 3% down. The next home, hey, you can upgrade next year after you live in the home for 12 months. You can buy the next home at $150,000 with 5% down. And then the following year, buy the next home with $200,000, 5% down. So you're buying a home a year for only 5% down, right? And it's allowed because let's say you buy the first home with 3% down. The next year, after you live in the home for 12 months, you can rent out the current home that you live in, cash flow it, buy the next home, 5% down. Then the next home, 5% down. So now in 3 years, you already have 3 homes. And how much did you put? 5% down on each home. And it's cash flowing every year, right? Very simple, right? That's how you buy houses, as a beginner with 5% down. The next thing that I do that you can buy investment property for sometime less than 5% or even 10% or even 0% down. Okay, it comes back to that trust and that relationship. Once you work with someone, let's just say I work with a hard money lender, or I work with these banks. I have this relationship with them. They trust me. They will lend me a certain amount of money. And I want to talk about that too before we go. I want to talk about local banks too. A lot of times people don't, everyone banks with the Chase, the Wells Fargo and stuff like that. I bank with them too because when I travel, I want to have access to those banks. But a lot of my relationships are with small local banks. I bank with banks that only have 3 or 4 locations in the state of Texas, or 5 locations. Because if I need something, they know me. I get it right away. I go in the bank, they say, hey, Khai, they know who you are. They built that, again, that's relationship, that trust. If I call them up and I say, hey, I call my banker, hey, Jeff, I need $1 million to buy this project. He said, okay. Or if I need something, they'll wire to me right away in a couple of days. That's how you buy these stuff a lot faster than most people. I have banks that give me an unsecured line of credit for $1 million, unsecured. It's like a credit card for $1 million because they trust me. They know I have built that relationship. I have that rapport with them, and I can use that money to invest, and I don't have to ask anyone. It's like cash. You're using other people's money. Build relationship with local bank. You're not going to be able to do that with a Chase, a Wells Fargo, or Bank of America. But if you have a small regional bank that know you and you build that relationship with them, they will be able to do a lot more for you than any other bank. Right? You go to get a loan at Chase, they think that the bigger the better. It's not, right? Sometimes it's about that relationship. How do you have that one-on-one? How do you have that interaction where if you need something, you can get it right away, right? And that's what the small local bank does, okay? Back to buying investment with just 5% or 0% down, okay? Let's just say I've been working with this hard money lender for a while, right? When I want to buy a property, I want to use a hard money lender. You always say, hey, hard money requires 10%, 20%, 30%, or whatever, right? A lot of these hard money, they don't care how much you put down. They look at numbers, okay? So I have a hard money lender that I've done so many transactions with. I built that trust relationship. They know that, hey, Khai's good for it. I built that. I trust them. They trust me. So if I need something, they will lend me. Let's just say right now, in today's market, it's perfect for it. Okay. Let's just say you're buying a property is valued at $200,000, right? And you were able to snag it for $150,000 because your realtor partner or someone that you trust, a wholesaler that trusts, gave this deal to you. You have $50,000 in equity instantly. A lot of these hard money, after you have like several transactions with them, they're not going to look at how much you're purchasing for. They're not going to look at, hey, he's purchasing for 150, we're going to lend him 80% of that. They're going to look at what's the value of it. It's worth 200,000. Hey, I'll lend you 80%. I'll lend you 160,000. You buy it for 150, that's fine. I'll lend you 160. Okay, you buy it, you finance 100% of it, and then the next day you can rate and term refinancing. Right? Does that make sense? So the property's worth 200. The hard money lender, because they trust me, they know Khai is good for it. I'm buying for 150. They're lending me 160 to buy it. Now I even have an additional, couple of thousand to do other stuff, minus your closing costs and all that stuff. Now I have to do that. And then once I fix up, have a tenant in, I rate and term refinance, pay off the hard money lender. And really, because now it's appraising at 220, 230, I really bought this home with little or nothing because I built that trust relationship where that hard money lender will lend me based on the actual cash value versus the purchase price because they know. Okay, so that's why I say it's important to build those relationships. You want the good deals, but how do you make it a better deal because of the relationship and the people that you have working around? Yeah. And the Chase banks or the Wells Fargo, they'll never do that for you. But the small local bank, they'll do that for you too on those deals.
Can you tell us who are the small local banks in Dallas?
Yeah, I'll tell you who I bank with. I bank with North Dallas Bank and Trust. They have like 3 branches in Dallas. I bank with Frost Bank. I bank with First United Credit Union. I bank with Gulf Coast Bank. These are like, they're very small and local, and they know me, so when I need something, they're willing. But I have hard money lenders that are they just trust me and they'll do it for me.
So everyone listening to this podcast is going to walk into these 3 banks and be like, I know Khai, and therefore you know me now. So that'll be your first
bank robbery.
And it's a trusting because
piggybacking off the trusted relationship.
No, I'm not. I on this trusted relationship. You have to trust me.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Khai, for your insights. For people that want to get a hold of you, how can they find you?
Look up Khai the Mortgage Guy on Facebook. I'm not very active on there, so sometimes if you message me, it might take a while. But you can call my office. You can look up www.absoluteml.com. Message me on Facebook. You can Google me. They have my cell phone out there, so you can call me. I'm okay with that as well. So I'm on LinkedIn, but I don't even know how that works. I'm on. I don't have Twitter or TikTok or any of those.
You know what, Min? For those of you guys on TikTok, Min, who works for Khai, has a TikTok. So hit up Min, DM Min, and say, "Hey, I want to talk to Khai," and that'll get you straight there.
That works too,
You might be better off faxing something to Khai, it sounds like.
I do. Oh, you can email me. I'm very good at email.
He is. That he is. We will attest to that. Khai's very good.
Because I have a team where I used to get like 34,000 emails a day. I don't anymore because they kind of filter it out for me now. So. Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Khai. It was great having you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it. So
much fun. Thanks, Khai.
All right.
All right. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Here's one last note from our lovely sponsors.
Hey, SARE Ladies listeners, Tony the CPA Dude here, also your resident SARE Tax Bro. And with your lovely host, they came up with some great ideas. So Miss Tiffany and Miss Anita here came up with the tax workout plan. So we're gonna help you get cut up on your taxes, also gonna help you cut up on your own body. So just like working out, taxes is a monthly thing. You can't ignore it, otherwise you're gonna fall off the cliff. So with the code SARE Ladies, we're gonna give you a nice healthy discount, and we're also gonna give the SARE Ladies a kickback just to help support their podcast. I've had a fun time being on their podcast a couple times this year. They've done great. I really wanna see them blow up in 2023. So with your support with this creative tax workout plan and also a workout plan in general, we're gonna help you transform your life in 2023. So mention the code SARE Ladies when you talk to me. You can email me at Tony@thecpadude, text me at 928CPA-Dude, TikTok's the CPA Dude, website's the CPAdude.com, everything's the CPA Dude. So SARE Ladies is your special code here, and let's make this year great.
Thank you for tuning in to the SARE Ladies podcast hosted by Anita Wong and Tiffany Lee. Special thanks to Subtle Asian Real Estate, LLC, our parent company.
If you enjoyed our show, please leave us a review or follow SARE Ladies on Spotify and Instagram @Subtle Real Estate. You can also click on our show notes to subscribe to our newsletters to stay on top of our news and upcoming events. Until next time, Pod Squatters.